All right, you guys, let's jump in. I'm so excited to have you here tonight. We're going to talk about just a beginner's guide to natural living. So if you're here, it's maybe because you're ready to go the natural route, but you have no clue where to start. It can be very overwhelming when you start to just dive into the things, all the things that are bad for you. And at one point, you just want to just throw up your hands and say, I give up, because it seems like everything is bad for you. That's not the case, I promise. And I'm here to take that overwhelm away for you, make this simple, give you small, simple steps to take, and also share with you a very welcoming and knowledgeable community for you to join so that we can walk with you on this journey and take all of the complication and the overwhelm out of it for you. So what we're going to go over tonight, basically how this whole natural way of living is supposed to work. How do you know what things in your home need to get tossed? What can stay? We're going to talk about some of the tools we use, like essential oils. We're going to walk you through all of that and help you through those first steps. You guys, I promise you can do this. Okay. We're going to be here to help you. When I say we, I mean me and my team. I have a whole team behind me rooting for you guys, you and your success. Okay. So before we dive in the chat, I want you to tell me what brings you here today. Where are you from? What are you looking to learn? This will help guide me in my presentation for you. I'm going to ask you if you have questions, just type them in the chat, but start it out with question in cap so I can find it real easy. Okay, we're going to have a Q&A time frame here, so be ready for that. And one person from whoever engages in the chat, one person from the chat on our live call will be drawn for a prize at the end of this. So for those of you watching on the replay, you can interact with us too, because I go back through and I check all these things and I will answer your question directly for you. Okay, so let's dive in. Did you know that toxins were found in things like cookware? Tell me how you feel about this.
Angry, sad, mad. Yeah, right?
Now, it may come as a surprise to you that toxins exist in our everyday products, like your soaps, your shampoos, air fresheners are huge, your cleaning supplies, terrible, makeup, and lots more stuff. But sadly, many of these items aren't highly regulated for safety. We as the consumer are led to believe they're safe for use. In the US, we have to prove that a product is bad, where like in places like the UK, a company has to prove that a product is safe before it launches. In the US, they launch the product and then it's up to us, the consumer, to prove that it's bad for us. It's kind of backwards here. So just so you know, we vote with our dollar. So if you buy it, they will make it. Okay, so there's a lot of things out there in the stores that we just don't support and buy. We're going to talk about those today. Now, the first step in this journey is going to be to ditch the junk. But how do you know what needs to go? Well, I'm going to show you. We're going to talk about it. Let's take a look at what ingredients present a risk to you and your family. Starting with formaldehyde, this is a preservative that's often seen in lotions, cosmetics, baby wipes. It's a known carcinogen and it can cause skin and respiratory irritations. A lot of people with very sensitive lungs, allergies, asthma type symptoms, they can be very sensitive to the formaldehyde fumes in their homes, coming from things like flooring and building materials and such. But it's also found a lot of in makeup. Ingredients in makeup are formaldehyde releasers and can cause irritation for us that way. Phthalates. Phthalates are a group of chemicals that are found in personal care products, plastics, vinyls. They'll usually show up on a label as in something, and then it'll have the name, and then it'll end in phthalates. These can affect your endocrine system, which is your hormones, affecting your reproductive health even, and they can potentially cause cancer. We have VOCs, stands for volatile organic compounds. These are really just any organic gas, really, that's emitted into the air. Some are good, some are bad, but you're going to find these in things like building materials. home and personal care products, gasoline, even things like glue, permanent markers. Breathing in the bad VOCs can cause eye, nose, and throat irritation, as well as difficulty breathing and nausea. Can even damage the central nervous system in some of your other organs too. Some VOCs can even cause cancer. And we have sodium lauryl sulfate, also known as SLS, or sodium laureth sulfate, SLES. These are surfactants and they're used as emulsifiers. So they keep things mixed up and help them create a lather. They're usually synthetic and they can cause skin irritation. They're found in things like anything that makes a sud. So laundry soaps, your spray cleaners, dishwasher detergents, soaps, shampoos, even toothpaste. Then we have the ethanolamines, known as MEA, DEA, or TEA. These are going to be found in your household and personal care products. They've been linked to organic system toxicity, bioaccumulation, and even cancer. Now, bioaccumulation means that it builds up in your system. So while we have, in a lot of situations, there is what's called a safe amount that an ingredient can be used in a product, okay? But when you think of it and you use one product with these ingredients in it, you're fine, you're getting that safe level of that toxic ingredient, right? But now when you think of your shampoos, your conditioners, your deodorants, all of your skincare products, your cosmetics, if all of these products have tiny amounts of these toxins in them, that builds up until we are now flooding our body with an unsafe amount of these chemicals. So that's why it's important to make switches where you can make swap things out. That's why it's important to swap the things out that you can and are willing to swap out. Triclosan is starting to be banned more and more and more in the US. It's regulated on a state level, but it's found in many antibacterial soaps, hand sanitizers, detergents, some toothpaste, deodorants, cosmetics, plastics, things like that. It can affect the thyroid and your hormonal system. Then we have fragrance. Now, the word fragrance can appear on a label and contain an enormous list of ingredients that a company isn't required to disclose because it's considered a trade secret. So fragrance is just an umbrella term where companies use to hide the ingredients that they don't want you to know that are in there. So this means that a product contains some really bad things and we wouldn't even know because they're not on the label, right? A lot of chemicals used in fragrance are linked to cancer, reproductive and developmental toxicity, allergies, and sensitivities. So for me, in my family, if it has the word fragrance on the ingredient list, you don't need to read the label any further. If you just remember the word fragrance and say no to that word, you will eliminate probably 90% of the toxic products in your home. So this could also be in the form of, it could be listed as fragrance or perfume or parfum. Those three words, if they're on the label, just don't even bring them into your home. Okay, so these are just a few ingredients that you're going to want to avoid bringing things into your home. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, this could really take a lot of time and effort, and it sounds exhausting to have to read label after label and wondering if what you're using is safe, right? You can eliminate about 90% of your products if you just remember the one ingredient of fragrance and eliminate anything with that on the label in your home. This includes perfume and parfum as well. So the word fragrance is just an umbrella term that where a company is allowed to hide any other ingredients as a trade secret. So they're not required to disclose all of their ingredients. They can hide it under the term fragrance and get away with it. Okay, so this means that some of your products could really contain some bad stuff in them and you wouldn't even know it. Remember, companies in the US don't have to prove a product safe before it hits the store shelf. It can let you be the science experiment and do a recall if they need to later. Now, some of these chemicals found in fragrance have been directly linked to things like cancer, endocrine disruption, reproductive and developmental toxicity, allergies, food sensitivities, skin sensitivities, just all kinds of things. So why take the risk when you don't have to? Now, this doesn't have to be an overnight process. You don't have to do it all at once. It took me about 1.5 years to be completely chemical free in my home. Just keep things manageable. Start with one room and replace the items there, or break it down even smaller and choose just one category. Like first do your cleaners and then do your makeup and just then move on to another and just keep moving. Or when an item is replaced, instead of going to the store and replacing it with your traditional toxic brand, swap it out with something healthier. You don't even have to spend hours reading labels. That sounds easy enough, right? So tell me in the chat, and if you're watching the replay, just use the comments. What room do you think you're going to start with first? Or if you've already started, what area is next for you? I'd love to know.
We have makeup, cleaners, yes, toothpaste, definitely, shampoo, absolutely, you got it.
Now let's talk about some of the tools we use on this journey. You can swap out so many of your items with essential oils. There are unlimited amounts of DIY recipes for pretty much anything you could imagine as far as cleaning and personal care products, all using essential oils. We're just going to go over a few of those very common essential oils here and just cover a few quick tips on how to use them. And I'm going to let some of you in the audience that are familiar with oils to share some of your uses for these too. Now you're welcome to screenshot these next few slides, but I've made it life easier for you, and I've created it in a nice printable format for you. So you can just grab the link in the comments here, the chat. If you're watching the replay, I'll put it in the video description here for you. So you can just print that off and not have to worry about the screenshots. Plus, I've got even more tips for these oils that we're sharing about on that printable for you. So don't worry about screenshotting. Do it if you want to, but you don't have to. I've got you covered. Simplifying life is what I do. So first, a blend called Thieves. I'm going to actually let one of you share on Thieves. There we go.
I have a story. Of course, Angie always has stories, right?
Yay.
You can use Thieves on pets as well. And you know me, I'm a big animal nut. And I had a Labrador retriever that came one day and she had like a hole in her side. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Where did this come from? I had no idea. So I took our Animal Sense ointment and added a couple drops of Thieves to the ointment and rubbed it together, and I applied that. And I figured after a day or two, if I didn't see improvement, she was going to the vet. I wasn't taking any chances. And my personal experience was A+. I'll tell you what, it was phenomenal. It really did an amazing job. But that's how I got into Young Living, was the Thieves essential oil. So
Cool.
I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah, that Animal Sense ointment gets pulled out around here a lot for a lot of things.
Yes. But keep in mind, it works good to put the Thieves in with it as an extra little boost.
Definitely, definitely. Anybody else want to share on Thieves? Otherwise, I'll move on to what's next. Lemon. Who has a fun story about lemon? If not, I do. when I bought a starter kit with these 12 oils, which actually it only had 9 oils when I bought it back 10 years ago, from my sister, I bought this kit so she could win a contest. I had thought she had lost her marbles when she was trying to get me to use all these oily things and that she was nuts. And so I bought this kit. I had no intention of ever using it. And I just wanted to help her out, right? And so after about 2 weeks of this kit sitting on my counter and me getting sick of moving it and cleaning around it, I finally figured, okay, I spent this money. I should at least use what I bought. And so I called her. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? And she's like, what? You haven't opened it yet? But no, I haven't. So what do I do with this stuff? And she told me, she's like, well, first step is to just take the lemon and just add a drop to your drinking water. I said, well, I don't drink water. She said, start. I said, yes, ma'am. So I started with just putting lemon in my water. Drinking the water was a big step for me. In the first place, I was the type that I would drink a bottle of water in a week. Now I drink about 2 quarts a day. So big improvements there. But one of the things that I noticed changed for me is I was a 2 can of pop day person. I was a lover of Mellow Yellow, and that is the only way I could get through my day. When I was training horses really hard, I would actually hit the hard stuff, energy drinks to make it through my day because I was finding myself literally falling asleep while riding my horses. That's kind of not safe. So energy was a huge factor for me, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so I relied on my Mellow Yellow. And after about a week of drinking lemon in my water, I went to go grab my lunchtime can of Mellow Yellow and I popped the top and took a sip. And I'm like, oh, I just really don't want this anymore. And so I put it in the fridge because I figured I'm going to want that later. I better just save it. And I never went back. I've been pop free ever since. I got the same reaction with my mother-in-law's homemade buttermilk brownies that were my favorite all-time things. I added the Ningxia Red and the lemon in my water. I just reduced my sugar cravings. I just lost the taste for that stuff. So that was a huge impact. So now I'm not only drinking water, that's go me step 1. And now I've eliminated that junk pop from my diet. Now I can't even drink pop when I want to because it kills my guts. How about lavender? Does anybody have a fun and exciting story about lavender? No, nobody wants to share. Okay, well, I do.
When you get done, I have a really good one too, Jackie, if they're
Awesome.
not tired of hearing from me.
Yes, yes. So my lavender was the very first oil I pulled out of my kit to actually use instead of just, drinking lemon in my water. Lavender was the next one because I actually needed help. My horse had somehow cut the back of his foot. Like he essentially tried to slit his wrist is what it would have been likened to. And so I'm thinking, okay, what do I do with this? I wasn't in a place that I could wrap it. It was in a space, it was muddy outside. So I couldn't just let him be outside in the clean grass. It was mud. Put him in a stall and he's either going to get shavings or straw stuck to it. There's like no way to keep this thing clean. I was expecting a headache. So I went to soak him in Epsom salt and I added lavender to the Epsom salt soak. That lavender pulled all of the debris that had caked its way into that cut and pulled it out, and it kept it clean. I soaked him twice a day, morning and night. And I know it was the lavender because after a few days I had ran out because we just had the little 5 ml bottles, and I was putting I was putting a lot in there because I didn't realize that 1 or 2 drops is all I needed. I had no direction up here. I was all by myself. My family all lives in Minnesota. So I was up here all by myself. And my sister stopped answering my phone calls because she got sick of answering my questions, and she finally sent me a reference guide and told me to figure it out myself. So I used up my lavender in like 3 days. And in that time frame, I couldn't keep it clean at all. Like the stuff wasn't coming out of it like it did when I had the lavender. I tried thieves, and that my horse really didn't like. So luckily I got another bottle, and the results were just, it was amazing how just soaking it with the lavender kept it clean. It healed up very quickly from what I was imagining it. And he does have a scar, but it really, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. So go ahead, Angie.
We haven't been burning our wood stove, but you heard how cold we've been getting. So we lit the wood stove and got it going. And my cat decided to jump on top of the wood stove. And it sounded like one of my dogs was killing her when she actually, her pads of the feet actually hit the stove. So of course I ran and grabbed the lavender, which I use in my kitchen all the time because I'm such a klutz with the oven. And the next day she was running around like nothing had happened. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
amazing. Lavender isn't that the one we call the Swiss Army knife in a bottle?
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, that is definitely, that's actually my son's favorite. He's always been drawn to lavender. And that's still, if he sees it, he's always just grabs it and smells it. We love lavender around here. I pretty much have a bottle in every room because we use it for everything in every room. Kitchen, because I burn myself when I cook quite often. Bathrooms, it goes in every bath my kids take, every one of them. So we love lavender. All right, what else we have here? Peppermint. Peppermint is, okay, we use peppermint a lot just to wake up and be energized and refreshed. It's probably the one my husband really likes. He gets headaches because he refuses to go to the chiropractor and get his neck adjusted. I can sometimes pop him with some Valor and a good massage, but he's a man, and you know how men are. He doesn't want to go in and get it fixed. So my regimen for him is I put Valor from his tailbone up to the base of his skull. I rub that in, and then I'll do Panaway over all the muscles to help relax the muscles, rubbing all that in. And then I'll do peppermint over the top of all of that to just really just soothe him. And he just likes it. It relaxes him. It's refreshing. Even when I'm thinking, oh, I'll just use like Copaiba because he's got a lot of achiness to him, I'll use that one instead. He's like, where's my peppermint? He also likes it in his water. I'll inhale peppermint while I'm driving and getting tired from driving. Just sniffing some peppermint is really helpful there. Anybody else want to share any fun stuff about peppermint? Alrighty. Okay, purification. I use it most on my wool dryer balls. So that's another thing. The products in your laundry room are just super, super duper toxic. It's probably the dirtiest house in your home right now as far as chemical ingredients go. So instead of using fabric softeners and dryer sheets, I just use wool dryer balls, and I add about 3 drops to each. I use at least four balls, and then 3 drops go on each ball. And that just helps neutralize odors, keeping our clothes smelling clean. The next thing I use purification for the most would be in the summertime for all of the things that bite and itch and sting. Valor. So Valor for me is the oil that allows me to do what I do for my Young Living business. It's the oil that made me able to do public speaking. It just helps calm and balance the nerves. For my husband, I've watched him crawl out of bed and drop to his knees because his back went out as he stepped out of bed, crawl back into bed and be like, I can't move. Remember, he won't go to a chiropractor. So I went and got some Valor and I rubbed it on his spine, and I just worked it in his spine, And within 5 minutes, he kind of twisted and popped and cracked. He's like, oh, that felt so good. And he was on his way to start his day. So for me, I use Valor a lot for just grounding, balancing, calming nervous energy. My brain goes a lot of different directions all the time, and that energy travels through my body, and I have a hard time of just bringing it all in and chilling out. Valor helps me with that. It just keeps me centered. My 5-year-old, about halfway through, no, less than halfway through pre-K, we started to recognize some anxiety issues with her. And I just sent the bottle to school with her. Her teacher let her smell it or put it on whenever she needed to. Before we did that, there was 1 week where I was running to school to help her with whatever panic attack she was having 3 times in a week. That week, I'm like, okay, this is a problem we need to fix, because yes, I stay home, but I can't be running to school every other day to help you with an issue. You're going to need to learn how to figure this out if this is something you're going to be living with. And since I give her a tummy oil because her anxiety triggers a tummy ache, and I give her Valor. And I did not have to go to school to help her one time after that. My conferences with her teacher says, nope, she just takes whatever oil she needs whenever she wants. And we just haven't had any meltdowns since. So I've seen this one oil just do amazing things in my family. I could go on more really miraculous stories with this one, but I'll save you guys all the time. Did anybody else want to share before moving on? Now you'll notice these are all a specific brand of essential oil called Young Living, and there's a reason for this. Now, Young Living is the only brand of essential oils that I trust for safety and quality standards for my family. They have what's called a seed to seal quality commitment. You can dive into that. I'll put a link in the chat here for you. If you're watching the replay, it'll be in the description of this video, to just really dive into their 5-pillar seed to seal standards. It goes above and beyond anything organic. It goes above and beyond any other quality standard of any other company that I have come across. And when you're talking about the health and safety of my children, that matters. So remember, if we're getting rid of fragrance in our homes, that means all of those things. What are we going to make our house smell good with? Well, I tell you what, I have not missed my scented candles and air fresheners 1 ounce of a half a second, because I just run my diffuser instead. And instead of putting harmful chemicals into the air, we are putting beneficial constituents that support the heart, the mind, the body, and the soul. When you're diffusing quality essential oils like Young Living, you need a better quality diffuser than the $10 Amazon ones you can find, because the oils are so strong and potent that you're going to go through a lot of diffusers. So these 2 are my favorite diffusers that are offered. One is the Lantern diffuser. It's very gorgeous diffuser. And the other one is the Desert Mist, also a beautiful diffuser. The difference really is only how they look. They have the same exact features.
Jackie, can I interrupt 1 minute?
Yes, please.
The Lantern diffuser, I actually painted mine to match my decor in my living room, because I have a lot of galvanized pieces in my living room. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it. It turned out amazing, you guys. So if there's a color you don't so much like, you can change the Lantern one. I just used spray paint and took the glass part out and made sure that the fumes didn't get inside the diffuser, of course, because I just took the cover off. Turned out great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what the diffuser does is it vaporizes the essential oils to get them into the air so we can breathe them in. Now, these 2 pictured here are Cool Mist ultrasonic diffusers, so that the oils are protected from heat, so that they retain their incredible healing properties. Young Living's diffusers come with a 1-year warranty as well. Not only does diffusing essential oils help purify the air, it can also just help with your environmental or spiritual awareness. It stimulates the olfactory receptors, which activates the brain's limbic system that's associated with memory, emotion, and your state of mind. It's pretty incredible. To put it in layman's terms, the olfactory system is basically your sense of smell. Your nose is hardwired to your brain. That's why a lot of strong perfumey scents, like toxic fragrance, gives us headaches. Now, I often call Young Living my easy button for life, but they seriously make getting started as easy as possible with these starter bundles. These starter bundles are so reduced in pricing. It makes them such a no-brainer value. You can see here, this particular one is valued at $300, but costs just $165. And I could really even embellish this by giving you the full retail value price, but that's not how I roll. If you were to buy all of this stuff individually, you're gonna qualify for a 24% discount through their website. So that's the price I valued it at here for you. And I will put the link for this exact bundle in the chat for you, or if you're on the replay, it'll be in the description of this video. Just remember to check in with the person who invited you to this whole event before you buy anything, because they might have a discount or a purchasing gift to offer you by going through them. So there is that. We're all about community and supporting each other here. So now, what about safety and usage? Start with just a few drops when you're diffusing. Most people typically diffuse between 3 to 10 drops at a time, depending on your sensitivity and your preferences. If you're not using Young Living oils, you'll probably find yourself wanting to use a lot more because you're using an inferior quality potency of oil. So 3 to 10 drops is typically plenty. You can also apply Young Living oils to the skin. So just to keep it simple, just start with 1 drop, add a small amount of carrier oil, such as like sweet almond oil or grapeseed oil to dilute it. Any carrier oil that's cold pressed would be fine. You want to dilute more heavily when you're applying hot oils like thieves or peppermint. Those can be kind of intense on the skin, the clove, black pepper. And then also dilute when using on small children and the elderly, people with sensitive skin, things like that. Just do test patches until you get comfortable with how your body's going to react, and you'll be fine. Young Living also carries a line of ingestible oils called their Vitality oils. These are the same oil as the regular label has. It's just labeled differently to make it easier to know which oils can be safely ingested. You can add a drop of these or more if you like into any vegetable capsule, a cup of tea, a glass of water. You can even cook and bake with them. Just as always, start slow and just see what works best for you. So what questions do you have for us so far? Go ahead and raise your hand, and how you do that is you go into the reaction tab, and then you'll see a little hand raise there. Or if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can just unmute yourself and jump in if you can't find it, or even just type in the chat starting with questions in all caps, and I'll just read it for you. No, Julianne, there is not a shelf life with Young Living's oils unless they have a carrier in them. So if you have a blend, you want to look at the label on the blend to see if it contains something like coconut oil or almond oil. If they do, they have about, well, I still haven't found one that has gone rancid on me, but you'll be able to smell it. If you've ever smelled stale oil, like stale cooking oil, it'll have that kind of smell to it. It's years though, is been my experience. They don't have an actual expiration date on the product because again, it's kind of years. But there are some blends that will have a little bit of that carrier oil to help mix all of the single oils together. So you want to watch for that. There is an essential oil educator named Jen O'Sullivan who says citrus oils have a 5-year shelf life. But again, I've got some bottles of citrus oils that are pretty old, and I just haven't found any rancid oils yet. So that's my answer, my story, and we're sticking to it, right? Yeah. So, okay, Angie answered the carrier oils. Yeah, when I first started, I diluted everything, especially on my young kids. But now that we're seasoned oilers and I know how I react to the oils and I know how my kids react to the oils, I actually don't dilute a whole lot of them anymore. Just I'm lazy, really, is what it comes down to. Yeah, I'm not a big diluter myself.
Unless you're diluting for pets, cats especially, you need to do pretty good dilutions. I usually put 10 to 15 drops to 1 drop of essential oil because they're very sensitive. Dogs are not quite as sensitive as the cats, so.
Yeah, definitely dilute for animals, because even like the horses, when I put them on the horses, I find 1 drop, they're very, very susceptible to the oils. And even on a big horse, just one drop on my hands, like rubbing my horse, they just melt with it. And depending on the oil, sometimes they'll go crazy and just start smelling and getting right in your face, like, oh, what is that? They really like oils. And I've definitely found them too, where I've grabbed an oil and they've turned away from it. They didn't want it. So when it comes to my animals, I kind of let them decide what oils I use on them. And then yes, a little goes a long way. So now that you've gotten rid of things like synthetically fragranced lotions, your fluoride-filled toothpaste, your conventional makeup, you're going to need replacements for those, right? Thankfully, Young Living has you covered here too. And you can add these items to a subscription box that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So here's some of my favorite things to add. Lotions. Young Living carries several options for babies, kids, and adults. They're all formulated without parabens, sulfates, phthalates, or those synthetic fragrance, artificial colors, all that stuff. They're infused with Young Living's premium essential oils. All these products are backed by their seed to seal guarantee so that you can trust that you're using a quality product that's not greenwashed. The lotions contain a really beautiful moisturizing blend of plant-derived oils and butters, and they're formulated to absorb very quickly, and they don't leave that like greasy residue. How about toothpaste, oral care? Young Living has an entire line of oral care products, including one for kids. None of their products contain fluoride. They're free from harmful peroxides, SLS, parabens, phthalates, mineral oils, synthetic perfumes, dyes, artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, and of course, they are also infused with Young Living's amazing essential oils. They contain naturally derived ingredients, which gently remove surface stains and help prevent tartar buildup, fight plaque, and even support healthy gums. Now, I used to struggle with bleeding gums throughout my childhood and into adulthood. Since switching to the Thieves Oral Care line, I no longer have problems with bleeding gums as long as I use the stuff. Cleaning products. This was one of the hardest areas of my home to swap out. I was so obsessed with getting just a good clean, and I assumed that I needed like all the top brand cleaners to do it. And then one day I asked myself, why is it okay that I can't breathe while cleaning my bathroom? There's just something wrong with that. And then on another occasion, my 9-month-old son came crawling through my freshly scrubbed floor, and he stuck his wet hand in his mouth, absorbing whatever cleaning chemical was on it. I decided right then and there it was time to make this change. Out with the old, in with the new. Thieves Household Cleaner became my all-time #1 favorite cleaner. And now that's all I use for everything. Bathrooms, kitchens, floors, showers, stoves, oven, windows, everything. Young Living also carries some pretty good laundry soap, dish soap, fruit and veggie soaps. There's an entire line of cleaning products that are truly clean and truly effective as well. And by the way, I have a whole section on natural cleaning in the guide section of my Swap It Savvy Facebook group. So you can check that out. The link is in the description of this video. Or for those of you on the live call, it's right there in the chat for you. Let's talk about supplements. Unfortunately, many conventional vitamins and supplements that are available on the store shelves are synthetically produced in a lab. They are not required to come from nature. Supplements don't require FDA approval before they're sold or marketed, nor is there any safety requirement to be proven. That can be a scary thing. In fact, if you remember a few years ago, there was actually a big recall where Walgreens and Walmarts and Targets and all of the stores that sell over-the-counter vitamins, right, had to pull massive amounts of these supplements off the store shelves, because what happened was there was a random third-party experiment that tested these products, and they found that 70% of them did not contain what they were labeled for. So basically what happened was, if you bought a bottle of ginkgo biloba, they were finding that there wasn't any actual ginkgo biloba herb in the supplement. And instead there was just like a certain weed, and this weed caused diarrhea. So find a trusted brand for your vitamins and supplements. These vitamins also often contain inactive or even just poorly bioavailable ingredients, as well as the artificial sweeteners and dyes that we don't need in our bodies. So just let's not waste our money on this. Let's get a good quality oil infused supplements delivered right to your door. You don't even have to go out and get them, and buy from Young Living. All of Young Living supplements are whole food ingredients. They are synergistically formulated to be readily available for your body to use and not just eliminate. Young Living supplements they're cultivated and tested and bottled under the same Young Living Seed to Seal quality standards, so you know you're getting that good product. Let's talk about makeup. Young Living offers a clean makeup brand called Savvy Minerals, which bans more than 2,500 harmful ingredients, whereas the industry standard for clean makeup typically only bans 1,300, following the European standards. So Young Living once again goes above and beyond their competitors. Our cosmetics are infused with their essential oils, backed by their Seed to Seal quality commitment. The makeup contains no sulfates, phthalates, mineral oils, animal-derived ingredients, synthetic fragrances, or synthetic dyes. They're vegan friendly, cruelty free. So how do you get these amazing products delivered right to your door so you don't have to even go shopping for them? You don't have to worry about reading labels and playing ingredient detective, because I've done all that for you, and I will promise you Young Living checks all those boxes. However, don't take my word for it. Again, go to seedtoseal.com and you can do the research yourself. With Young Living, they have over 600 products that you can choose from, and you can add this to a customizable subscription box called Loyalty Rewards. You pick what's in the box every single month. It's not a pick for you, done for you situation. You get to choose what's on your order every single month. Now, there's two ways to order. You can just simply shop and order like any other website. And if that order is 100 PV or more, which equates to pretty close to $100 plus your tax and shipping expenses, then what happens is you actually get to unlock a 24% discount for a 12-month period. That means any other order, big or small, that you place within that 12-month time frame will also be at a 24% discount. And then any other order after that hits 100 PV resets the 12-month time clock. The other way you can get a 24% discount is making your order a loyalty rewards order. This is like a monthly subscription box that you can customize every month. You get to choose what's in it, when it's sent to you. You can stop and start it at any time. But what happens, the perks to ordering this way, is that you actually get to earn what's called loyalty rewards points based on your order. So if your loyalty rewards order contains at least 50 PV, you're going to start earning 10% back in spendable loyalty rewards points. Do that consecutively for 3 months, and you'll start earning 20% back in month 4. Order consecutively for 24 months, and that percentage bumps up all the way to 25% in month 25. But now, don't think you want to order consecutively each month. That's okay too. You can order whenever you want. Before we end our time here, I want to make sure that you know how to set up your free Young Living account. So let me know in the chat if you need help with this. Just type in capital letters, help, so I see it. If you're watching the replay, reach out to me directly, either message me or you can email JackieSchmaltz83@gmail.com and we'll get you taken care of. Your other option would be to get in touch with the person who invited you to watch this video and they can help get you all set up. So clearly there's a bit of a learning curve to this whole natural and healthy lifestyle thing. And I promise to take the overwhelm away for you. And so I'd like to take this time to just invite you into my own community where I help people like you walk this journey and guide you step by step, whatever you need. Okay. So if you're not in it already, go ahead and jump into my Swap It Savvy Facebook group. The link is in the chat here for you on the live call. If you're on the replay, it'll be in the description of the video. Community exists to help support and educate you, answer your questions, share ideas, share recipes, and build on friendships. So please take advantage of it. Plug into this group. It's a free group. You don't have to buy to get in. It's just there for you to serve and connect you with other like-minded people on this journey. There's also a guides section in our group that we are constantly building and adding classes and courses to. There's a search feature that you can use the group like a Google search engine by just typing in a keyword, searching for any post or topic that includes that keyword. It's just a really good place for you to learn and connect with us. So it's totally worth it. I highly recommend it. All right. Thank you guys so much for jumping in here with me and taking a look at what Young Living has to offer. I truly believe these oils and products need to be in every home. They've been life-changing for my family and for millions of other families around the world. They are the real deal. It's with a company that puts purpose over profit. So don't forget to set up your free account today if you haven't already. And be sure to connect with me or the person who invited you to put down as your referring member so that we can keep you connected to our community. Because I promise you, we are cheering you on and cannot wait to see where your journey goes. So again, the link to set that up is in the chat right here for you, or it'll be in the description on the replay. But before we wrap things up, I want to give you one last chance to enter the giveaway. Tell me one thing you learned from today's class, and then we'll draw a winner.
Lavender for burns, yes. Sherry says, say no to fragrance. You bet. Jessie is all in on that kit. Way to go, Jessie. Sonia's cleaning cabinet is getting a makeover. Lemon in my water to kick sugar cravings. Yes, that's lemon and Ningxia Red. Tanya needs to know more about that makeup. Tanya, can you message me or send an email to JackieSchmaltz83@gmail.com and we'll get you some resources sent over and have a chat about that. All right, winner chicken dinner, you guys. Julianne Selly is our winner for the goodie bag. Julianne, I will be in touch to get your contact information. So that's a wrap, you guys. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this. As always, I hope it was helpful to you. And I look forward to getting to know you a lot better on this journey. So you all take care.
only does